20 Signs You Will Never Become Rich. Many people aspire to become rich one day, but very few people ever make it. If you're watching this right now, you are probably someone who is trying to climb their way to the top. But how do you know if you'll actually get out of poverty? Welcome to CMTVten. If you are new here, consider subscribing so you don't miss other interesting videos like this one. Every wealthy person has certain traits in common that have helped them surpass their humble beginnings. Others can seem to get over their shortcomings in order to make it to the next step. Here are 20 signs that someone will never become rich. 1. You imagine that getting rich is impossible. It might sound like common sense, but the only way you can become rich is if you believe you can be rich. So many people love daydreaming about what life would be like with a lot of money, but then they become complacent. They ultimately decide that being rich is a pipe dream, and it would never happen for someone like them. They think it sounds like a nice idea, but they don't actually have any plans to make it a reality. People who are rich and famous usually say that they knew from an early age that they were destined for greatness. They believed in themselves so much that they kept going until they achieved their goals. It may be difficult for you to have the same confidence, but it is necessary for achieving the things you want in life. 2. You are terrified of failure. If you are afraid of failing, you will never be rich. All of the most successful people in the world have failed. Success stories often focus on how someone rose through humble beginnings and became a millionaire. The reality is that these people have all gone through terrible setbacks but learned to bounce back. Successful people learn how to overcome failures. They pick themselves up and try again. This is the only difference between someone who makes it to the top of their game versus someone who stays in an average lifestyle. Remember that by playing it safe, you continue a normal life. Only the ones who take risks make it to the top. 3. You buy things you can't afford. We all want things in life, but there are some people who are far more materialistic than others. People who spend money on things that they don't actually need are wasting money. And to make matters worse, people spend money they don't have and getting into credit card debt. In the United States, our society makes us feel as though we need a new car, clothes, sneakers, and so much more. People who become rich understand that it is far more important to use their extra money on investments instead of wasting it on material things. And when they treat themselves to something, it is only after setting aside the cash to buy them. 4. You lack discipline. Everything worth having in life takes hard work and discipline. Think about athletes. Do they wake up one morning with the ability to lift hundreds of pounds, run for several miles, or throw across a football field? Of course not. They went to the gym, ate the right foods, and worked incredibly hard to achieve their goal. The same goes for working towards your goal to be financially successful. If you lack discipline in your life, you might give up when things get too difficult. These are the kinds of people who are never going to break out of poverty. Making more money is hard. And it may take a lot of work to find the right job, build a business, or create a professional reputation for a freelance portfolio. 5. You are contented with a salary. Some people feel content with going to their 9-to-5 job and knowing that they will have a paycheck every Friday. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, most people cannot raise a family or pay their mortgage if they don't know how much is coming in every month. But people who become rich often sacrifice the security of a steady paycheck in order to pursue something bigger than an hourly wage. They realize that they may be taking a risk, but they feel that it's worth trying. When you start a business, income can be completely unpredictable. There may be several months where you do not make any money at all. For some businesses, it can take several years before they are actually profitable. But for those who take that risk and come out on the other end, they are often very glad that they tried to get out of their comfort zone. 6. You only work 40 hours per week. Nowadays, you hear a lot about having a work-life balance. Most self-made millionaires made their money by working more than 40 hours per week. You may have heard of a book called The 4-Hour Workweek. While this has some amazing advice on how to delegate others to do work for you, the actual 4-hour workweek lifestyle is usually achieved after working 60 to 100 hours per week for years before you can delegate tasks. Remember that making a lot of money is rarely going to be as easy. Comes from hard work and persistence that has happened over several years. Remember that in the end, it will all be worth it once you have achieved your goals. 7. Public speaking makes you nervous. In today's world, there are plenty of people who become wealthy behind a computer screen. However, eventually, those people are going to have to speak in front of a crowd. We tend to remember the people who can couple the personality with the product. Most wealthy tech entrepreneurs have to hire coaches to help them with their public speaking. Being good at public speaking does not come naturally to most people. They have to constantly work on that skill if they want to excel. If you want to move up in the world, you may want to consider taking a public speaking class. You can also watch videos online, but the real skill comes from practicing in front of real people. There is also an organization called Toastmasters International, where successful people meet to practice their speaking skills. Consider reading the book Talk Like TED, where there are tips from some of the most popular TED Talks. 8. You don't read the right books. All of the most successful people in the world read multiple books per year. Most of these books are non-fiction and they focus on self-improvement. Every year, Bill Gates comes out with a list of all of the books he read that year. Oprah Winfrey is also famous for her book club. People who've read a lot are always looking to learn something new. They are willing to open up their mind to information that they have never known before, and it just might help them on their journey to success. In college, you had to read books to get better at a certain subject, but the same goes for life in general. The more you read, the more you succeed. 9. A jack of all trades, but a master of none. It can be great to be skilled in a lot of things because it helps you get ahead in life. But eventually, you may find that you're spread too thin. Some business owners are forced to do multiple tasks on their own before they hire someone. For example, let's imagine you open a pizza shop. You may have to do the cooking, the cash register, and all of the administration at the end of the night. That's 3 jobs in one. But if you keep doing this forever, you will be totally burned out. At some point, you would probably need to hand over the duties of cooking and running the register to someone else. People who make a lot of money are the ones who are really good at one thing. If we continue on with the example of a pizza shop, think about the big chains like Pizza Hut and Domino's. Even though their pizza may not be the best you have ever tasted, the founders knew how to market their product very well. No matter what kind of business you run, you need to focus on cultivating just one talent. 10. All talk, no action. There are so many people out there who will talk about how they are going to become rich and yet never take action. Most successful people are too busy working towards their goals to brag or talk about what they are doing behind the scenes. The next time you find yourself bragging about how you are going to succeed, ask yourself why you are doing this. Most of the time, people feel a sense of satisfaction telling people they are going to be rich. It is the same mindset as telling someone they are going on a diet. The praise or congratulations you get from someone is often enough to satisfy that urge to praise, and you go back to old habits immediately. So instead of seeking approval or praise, simply do the things that are necessary for you to get ahead in life. Then, once the task is done, feel free to talk about it once it's actually complete. For example, instead of saying, "I am going to build a website," just go make the thing. Once it's done, you can say, "I built a website," and it feels so much more satisfying to do so. 11. You are waiting for a miracle. For anyone who has read The Secret, you might believe that by thinking about your goals and creating a vision board, you might eventually manifest them into reality. While faith in yourself and in a higher power can sometimes help to move you forward, it is not the only thing that is going to make you rich. You have to pair manifestation together with action in order for it to actually work. Statistically speaking, poor people tend to be religious, and rich people are more likely to be agnostic or atheist. People who hope for a miracle are the ones who are playing the lottery, entering contests, and saying their prayers to God every night with the hope that $1 million will fall into their lap. And yet they are not doing anything to actually change their circumstances. 12. You don't have financial goals. There are plenty of people out there who want to be rich someday, and yet they refuse to write down their financial goals. That's like trying to build a house without blueprints. If you want to make more money in the future and feel financially secure, You have to create a plan for how it's actually going to happen. Always start out with goals that are actually achievable for your current situation. For example, a financial goal may be, I will pay off one credit card in full by the end of the year. Even if you fall short of your goals, you are making progress. Instead of measuring your own success against other people your age, try to compare your current situation with your past self. If you are making more than you were last year, it means you are making progress, and that's what counts. 13. You don't try new things. There is a famous quote by Albert Einstein that goes, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results." This definitely goes hand in hand with building success. If you want to be rich someday, you're going to have to try new things. After all, you are not going to become a millionaire if you stay at a minimum wage job forever. If you are never willing to try new things, you are destined to remain poor. Keep in mind that the odds of you striking gold the first time you try to do something new is very slim. So you might have to try a lot of new things before you find the right path that fits what you are trying to do. If you aren't sure where to start, begin with something you feel passionate about. Find something you have always felt curious to try but you were too afraid to do it. 14. Starting projects and never finishing them. Poor people might feel inspired to start a business, but they never follow through. For example, maybe they thought they could make crafts and sell them on Etsy. They got as far as buying a sewing machine and fabric, but never actually got to the point where they were listing things online. Someone could have a lot of these ideas, but if they never execute them and make it a reality, nothing will ever come of it. Rich people have an idea and see it through until the end. They will either keep going when they know it's worth holding on to or pivot when they know something is not going to work out. But at least they tried and saw their idea through to the finish line. 15. You seek approval from others. Like most things in life, you should work towards a goal because it is what you want, rather than what your parents, friends, or partner want. Most people who live a normal life are not going to understand if you tell them that you are trying to go down an unconventional path. They might completely disapprove of your choices because they cannot fathom it working out. But you cannot get your motivation from the praise and approval of others. It needs to come from within. Even if your friends support your decision to change your life, you still might have to do things they wouldn't like. For example, maybe all of your friends like to go out for drinks after work. But if you want time to work on your business, you might have to start saying no to hanging out. Your friends or partner might feel disappointed in you, but you need to ask yourself what is more important. Unfortunately, this is a sacrifice that people have to make if they want to make a lot of money. But if you care more about what your friends think, you might never get started on the journey to self-discovery and success. 16. Pursuing someone else's dreams instead of your own. Sometimes, parents pressure their kids to follow a certain career path. Maybe you grew up being encouraged to become a doctor or a lawyer, and you decided to study those subjects because you wanted to make your parents happy. Some kids were forced to go to college when they did not want to go at all because their parents believed it would be the best thing for them. Now, they are shackled with student loan debt. Living someone else's dream, you will never actually go far enough to be rich. It might be okay for the first few years, but you will eventually find that you are unhappy and unfulfilled. Gaining wealth takes a lot of passion and drive, so if you feel like you are forcing yourself to do your job, then it can be difficult to show up at all, let alone excel at your career. 17. Lack of motivation. Successful people are usually excited to wake up in the morning, and they feel motivated to get to work. They are not forced to get up by an alarm clock or the fear of getting fired. They truly want to work, because it gets them closer to their goals. If you still feel as though you are dragging yourself out of bed each morning, it might be that you have a lack of motivation. Without a spark of joy, you are destined to stay in a situation where you may be poor. Ask yourself what motivates you the most to get something done. Whatever it is, you need to channel that energy into your goal. For example, maybe you feel motivated to never have to commute to your job again. So, you really don't need to be a millionaire to do that. All you really need is to find a work-from-home job. Once you figure out what your personal definition of success is, you should begin to feel motivated to get started. 18. You don't believe in yourself. Sadly, poor people do not usually believe in their own abilities. They imagine attempting to get out of their bad situation and think they will fail. A lack of confidence in yourself is really at the core of never moving on past some of your life's biggest challenges. It may sound simple, but you really just need to believe in yourself. Rich people have a mindset that they can handle almost anything. They believe that even if something is challenging, they have the ability to learn how to adapt and overcome. They are willing to learn, work, and do whatever it takes to get over any challenge. 19. You are unable to adapt. The world is always changing, especially with new technology coming out almost every day. If you are not willing to adapt to change, you are going to fall behind very quickly. For example, think about how online shopping changed the retail landscape in the past few years. Companies like Sears were so confident in their legacy and did not think it was necessary to put their products online. They believed that their customers would be so loyal that they would continue to shop at Sears stores. Obviously, this was a huge mistake and they declared bankruptcy. Even if you do not run a company, you still need to adapt to change if you want to succeed. Think about all of the office workers who hesitated to learn Microsoft Word because they preferred to use a typewriter, or the people who still refuse to buy a smartphone. If you want to keep up with the working world, always be willing to adapt to change. 20. You don't have investments. Poor people almost never have investments. This is most likely because they are not educated on how to invest properly, or they are afraid of making a mistake. Even if you never learned it in school, all of the information you could ever need to know is available online. Check out websites like Investopedia, or search for YouTube videos. You could also read the Investing Quick Start Guide, which gives you an easy-to-understand breakdown of how investing works. Nearly every rich person out there made their fortunes by investing in something like stocks, cryptocurrency, businesses, or real estate. By investing, it's like making your money work for you. Millionaires often have a diverse investment portfolio where their money is divided up into various places. This ensures that even if one investment does poorly that year, others are likely to do well. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video.